archaeologist in training. That means please don't call me for digging in your backyards for your plants. I don't do that. I'm not the digger. I don't dig things, but when the diggers actually bring things from the past, thousands of years ago, I read them. So that means I need to know a lot of languages that are even dead now. So that's what I do. And I was working on an Egyptian document last night. And so worked until 1:30, and I did not even see actually what I put in my suitcase, and I ended up actually with this sort of a tie. So that's what PhD students do. All right. Did you receive the small slips when you entered? Did we get to give you those things? Okay, you did. Do you see anything on those slips? And by the way, I was told that actually I have the floor for the next 2 hours. Is that right? I know. Actually, you will stone me immediately. So what do you see on your slips? So, which slips actually probably that they might be asking, because they probably received a lot of slips. That's fine. So let me ask you these two questions. Who is Jesus according to you? Who is Jesus according to you? Number two, very related question is, how do you know what you know about Jesus? Who is Jesus to you? And second thing is, how do you know about that knowledge of Jesus? Whatever you have. So I would like to be, I said actually till 1:30 I was awake. That means if you don't speak, I'll sleep here. So you will be hearing about me talking in hieroglyphs now. There's no language like that, but so there's no speaking in hieroglyphs. So in the Egyptian writing is only there. But you will see me talking in dead languages if you don't speak. So what do you know about Jesus? Who is Jesus to you?
Savior.
So from here, Savior. So he saves us like Superman does, or he stops the falling trains, and what does he save us from?
Evil.
From?
Evil.
Evil?
He saves us from evil.
He saves us from evil. Wow. I can't ask a follow-up question on that, sorry. That's a fantastic answer. Okay. What else?
From death.
From?
Death.
Does that mean that we will not die at all, so that we get to live like Nityananda does?
Eternal.
What is that?
Eternal death.
Oh, eternal death. What does that mean?
You will live forevermore.
We will live forevermore. Okay.
Life after death.
Oh, life after death. Wow, that's an interesting answer. Okay. And?
Wake up!
It is. Yeah. So I'll take one more answer then. Yeah. Jesus is our Father. Wow. How is that so? He teaches us, guides us, comforts us, loves us. But he is dead, isn't it? Isn't he? No? You say he's alive. Interesting. Okay. So this evening, I would like to paint some picture of Jesus here, which is not just a totally strange picture or anything. So you'll see from where I draw the information to paint that picture now. Um, Languages are very crazy. How many times have you used the word nice? Too many times. You are very nice, that's what we say, right? But do you know actually the word nice came from, if you look at the root word, it is necious, which means ignorant, stupid. Yeah. So you are nice means actually, yeah, you are. We use the word religion also in the same sense many times. So when in India, especially when you talk about religion, or when people actually see me, my name is Krishna and I'm a follower of Jesus, then immediately the question they would ask is, oh, are you a converted Christian? I don't understand that language, because religion, by its very word, it means reconnecting. How do you convert into reconnecting? So what are we reconnecting about? Why do we need to reconnect? So another small thought experiment that I want to do here is, we'll do this side of the room, talk about what do you know about the greatness of humanity. And this side of the room, you talk about what is so bad about humanity, human beings. I know you get to have the, So we'll see actually who will win. So if you bring more points, then you get an extra biryani packet that Joe gives. Joe is the best biryani maker in the whole entire world, I heard. So, yeah. So who wants to go ahead? So you are talking about what? So what do you see about the good things about humanity? And then you talk about the bad things, icky things. So let's talk about let's.
Funny.
I think we should make him the speaker for this evening. All right. There's nothing good about humanity? What's that? The ability to love. Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay. To spread joy. Okay. Is that Kinder Joy? No, any joy. Okay. Kinder Joy is a chocolate toy in India, right? Yeah. I don't know if it is here also. It's here too. Okay. Okay. Nothing? Okay.
Pride.
Pride. Okay. That's it. 2-1.
Hatred.
We're losing hatred. Okay.
Genocide.
Genocide.
Abortion.
Genocide. Abortion. Okay.
Jealousy.
Jealousy. Man, 6 and 2. Sharing. Sharing with others. Now you're talking about joy sharing and then ordinary sharing. That's good. Okay. 3.
Envy.
Envy. 7. Repentance. Okay. Forgiving others. Okay. That's great. Are you married? Still you're saying? My wife never tells me. Okay, that's good. Yeah, human beings are teachable and also not teachable too. Stubborn, yeah. Okay. Selfish, okay. Selfless. Oh, but you have to be this side. Oh yeah, you're right actually. Selfless is. Okay, yeah. That's good. Now the question is, why is humanity so complex? you see on one side greatness of them. On the other side, you see the evil. The whole of India, in the last few weeks, there were gruesome murders in India. Rapes happened of a couple of girls, actually so many girls, and so people gathered together, they had vigils. On one side, you see newspapers are like, I had to I had to delete my Facebook because I could not really see so much of, bad and evil news about it. And, just to turn on the news channel was painful for me last couple of weeks. So on one side, we commit atrocities on one another, like you said, genocide. In India, actually, it's a rape culture, and also India's favorite sport recently has been mob lynching. So you see, we commit actually atrocities on each other on one end, and on the other hand, we see also we cry for social justice. We do, like, we conduct vigils and all these things. So what is so, why is humanity actually so complex like this? And Blaise Pascal, a 17th century philosopher, mathematician, I would say one of my favorite guys, really. So Pascal said that any religion, when Pascal used the word, listen to this carefully, any religion that really accounts for this complexity of human beings is the true religion. That's what he says. Any religion that accounts for the complexity of human beings appropriately, accurately, meaningfully, then that religion actually is the true religion. That's what Pascal says. That's an interesting statement from Pascal. So, how to know that? We may say that, well, I'm not a rapist, I don't commit genocide and all these things, but we know there is, some of the guys actually who said pride and all these things, these are actually everybody's business. Each one of us have, right? I never had any pride. That's a prideful statement. Right? So, within ourselves too, we struggle about it. Just last year, we were in India for 18 months, and last year I heard about a boy from from the place where I lived in India, Hyderabad. How many of you know the place? Hyderabad, yeah, it's famous for biryani, right? So we lived right next to the great biryani place in Hyderabad, by the way. So that's not part of my message, I'm just giving it tonight. Okay. So this boy who hailed from Hyderabad, he went to one of the Ivy League institutes in India, IIT, we call it as Indian Institute of Technology. It's a great place. So the guy, right from his childhood, this boy, right from his childhood, his parents actually from his 7th grade, they put him in that. So IIT coaching, every day he goes to school, comes back, goes to tuition, and then immediately goes to IIT tuition, and then does all these things. Finally, he got into this IIT, Ivy League Institute, and then a few months into that, he found himself hanging to the ceiling of his hostel room. But what's startling in that whole story was the slip that he left, on which he wrote that, "Is it all there is to life?" That's what he said. Exactly, these are the words he used. Is it all there is to life? Is life all about studying Newton's laws and understanding that Einstein somehow disproved some pieces of Newton's law? Is life all about learning how the atomic models in the past actually were superseded by the most advanced atomic models that we have right now? What is life about? A few years ago, you might have heard this guy, Mel Gibson. How many of you? Yeah, you all watch movies, right? So ABC, not a great channel, but so ABC, Diane Sarr, she was interviewing Mel Gibson. 5 minutes into the program, she asked a very probing question. She asked Mel Gibson, what made you to turn back to God? Gibson's answer was very interesting. He said, well, I have reached the pinnacle of what secular world has to give. I have everything, but I found empty. It's not enough. The more I eat it, these are his statements now, quote unquote, the more I eat it, the more I become emptier. The more I become emptier. So life, you can't be flippant about life. Like, I go to work, be mechanical, come back and then watch a TV show in the evening, and then eat dinner, and then go to bed, or watch another TV show and go to bed. No, people can't live like this. Indian philosopher Satish Chandra Chatterjee says that animals live like this. Russian novelist Fyodor Dostoevsky, I know, if you can pronounce his name, actually I will give you a chocolate this evening. Dostoevsky once he said that the secret of man's life is not just to live. Listen to this carefully. The secret of man's life is not just to live, but to live for something definite. Without having the firm notion of what he is living for, man not only not accepts his life, but will destroy it. In other words, if you don't have a sense of purpose in life, then you will not accept your life, but you will destroy it. Gibson thought that actually he was living for something, and then he was living for enjoyment, he was living for pleasure and all these things, but the more he eats on the pleasure that the world gives, the more he is becoming emptier. And that's why an Irish poet, Oscar Wilde, once said, there are two great tragedies in the world, he says. There are two great tragedies. How many? Two. One is not getting what you want, and the other is getting it. If you don't get what you want, yes, that's a tragedy. But even if you get what you want, that's another tragedy, because you don't know. What is life? I want to read some profound statements that changed my life in a significant way. It comes from the Gospel of John. By the way, the word gospel is not a Christian-y thing. The gospel means actually a good news to the whole world. You saw in the skit that these guys played. By the way, you guys did an amazing job. Can we hear? The fantastic thing about it is, when I was a kid, I used to think that Indian movies actually have this dancing and all these things. And this guys the guy and girl who dances on the screen, they change their dress immediately. And I thought, actually, how could they change that? Because my conception was they were behind that. And then when did they change it? But you guys did a tremendous job, because you played not double action, triple action. I think some people actually played 4 roles here. So let's give actually a big hand. So we saw some characters there. So Jews were looking for signs. Greeks were looking for wisdom. They were all trying to make sense of the world. You remember what I said about Satish Chandra Chatterjee's statement and Fyodor Dostoevsky's statement? You need to live for something definite. Without having a purpose for life, you can't really live your life. You can't live your life. Only animals actually live that way. Human beings are not designed to live purposelessly. That's why I think English writer Aldous Huxley, he says this thing that you need to, we live by good metaphysics or bad metaphysics. We can't really live by no metaphysics, because no one lives like that. So people were trying to make sense of the world. They were trying to make sense of the world. And in Indian Sanskrit, which the language I learned as a kid, born in a Sri Vaishnavite family. So, Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amrutangamaya. I'm in untruth, lead me to the truth. Tamasoma, I'm in darkness, lead me to the light. Mrityorma Amrutangamaya. It feels like actually everything is death around me because things are not making any good sense out of it. Lead me to life. Bring vitality to life. That's a profound prayer in the Sanskrit literature. And from there come these profound statements as an answer in the Gospel of John. Listen to this carefully. Those of you who know a little bit about the Bible, Gospel of John is the first book in the Bible. No, I'm kidding, actually, it's not. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. And the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. I want to go a little slower, which does not mean that I will take half an hour to expound on that one. That's not what I mean. I want to focus on understanding what we read just now. In the beginning. This is another, this is a Greek expression actually. It's another way of saying that before everything was made. Before everything was made, the word was there. The word used actually in Greek was logos. Can you say the word?
Logos.
From the good side, I'm not hearing. From the bad side, I'm hearing this. Sisters, actually, do you know, in India, they are creating women are creating an uproar there.
Logos.
That's right. The word logos actually means the principle that gives meaning to everything that we have. The principle that binds the world together. So in the beginning was the word, means in the beginning there was before everything was created, there was a principle actually that had a purpose to create everything, to hold everything. So world was not actually thrown just like that. It's not an accidental thing. People who go for abortion, they say, well, it was an accidental baby. No, world was not an accidental baby. World was created with a purpose. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God. And the Word was God. So God is the principle. He had the blueprint of the world. He had the reason why the world was created. The world was not actually just thrown there without any purpose. It was not a random act of God, but it was an intentional and conscious act of God. Everything has a purpose. And everything was made through this word. And everything that was made, everything that we see, all these things, the words used there, I want you to focus on this once again here. It say that without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life. Now look at the word here. In him was life. He was the one who gives vitality to it. You remember Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya and Mrityorma Amrutangamaya? Nothing is vital, it seems, because everything is mechanical. We don't seem to see any meaning to it. The more we eat from it, the more we get emptier. There is no life. And then here it's saying that in him was the life. If you want to find life, if you want to make sense of everything that is around you, if you really want to make sense of your very life, then what is the place to go? The place to go, naturally, even by common sense, is going to the one who made it with a blueprint. Who has the blueprint of this world? Who has the purpose for this world? And the life was the light of all mankind. Listen to this carefully here. Life was the light to all mankind. The word here means, it's profound. It means, why do you need light? So that you can see. You can see things clearly. Imagine there is no light at all. In the world, totally. There is no concept of light at all. Imagine that kind of world. You don't know where you're walking. You don't know to where you're walking. Right? If there is no concept of light at all, everything is darkness, right? Everything is darkness, and there is no goal. Like, Usain Bolt is nothing in that kind of world. Because the guy cannot run anywhere. Even if he runs, we can't see, he can't see, you can see, and then there is no world record at all. And then the word says that Jesus was the light of the world. This word that was the principle, this word that has the blueprint of everything, this word that was God, this word chose to become one among us. One among us. Let's not bind it to a religion in the modern sense. It's a humanity thing. It's our thing. The one who created the world has become one among us. A few years ago, not few actually, quite a few years ago, James Irwin, an American astronaut who recently, actually a few years ago, he died in Colorado Springs. So Irwin came to India. And one of my friends, Reverend Sudhakar Manditokar, so he asked James Irwin this question. Irwin, he was an American astronaut who stepped on the moon. James Irwin, by the way. And he asked James Irwin this question. Mr. Irwin, is man going onto the moon, is it a significant thing in the history of mankind? Irwin did not think a second, and he immediately said this. He said, when I went there, the first thing that came to my mind was this. Looking onto the earth from there is a splendor. The immediate thought that came to my mind was the one who created the earth and the moon decided to walk like one of us and walked among us. That's the significant thing in the history of mankind. That's what James Irwin said. In him was the light. In him was the life, and this life actually is the light of the world. If you want to have the vitality to this world, if you want to have things making sense to you, the proper place to come is Jesus Christ. The Word became flesh. He incarnated. He's not an avatar. Because avatars actually happen again and again and again. They have to, because that's the nature of avatars. But he is a one of a kind. Once for all, he took on the human nature. He did not have to become human again and again and again, like a Spider-Man opens up his shirt each time. Avatars are also not completely God, because avatars only share a piece of God in the concept of avatars. But Jesus was fully God and fully man. He became one among us. Why? The question is this. The first reason I would give you is, I have 25 reasons actually to go. No, I'm just kidding. So the first reason actually that is to give us an analogy. Because you know things through analogy. Many times, actually, if you want to know something unknown, you have to, you understand actually these things by the known things. God has become unknown to us all of a sudden when we decided that we don't need you, God, we can live autonomously from you. Human beings want everything but God. We want actually all the blessings without God. But that doesn't work that way. It's like, I said actually, I like cricket. How many of you know the game of cricket? Or how many of you don't know the game of cricket? Man. Okay, bear with me. I'll actually, after the meeting, I'll talk about in tennis terms to you. Imagine actually this cricket game. And somebody comes and tells that, well, let's play cricket. Yeah. And let's play cricket in a creative way. Well, that's great. So there are no wickets. And the bowler actually, there's no crease. The bowler can bowl from any place. There's no boundary at all. And if you hit it, actually, even if somebody catches, it's not out. And there is no limit on the number of balls in an over. Is that really a game? It's pain. Cricket is an enjoyable thing. But that enjoyable thing comes within a framework. God is the framework of all the pleasure that we have. If you remove that boundary, pleasure becomes pain. Oscar Wilde actually, a hedonist who committed his life, who devoted his life to seek pleasure, finally actually he said, I'm more wary of pleasure than pain. So God became man to tell us how God looks like. Number two, God became man to religion. Let me use the word in its proper sense, to reconnect. To reconnect us back to the place where we lost. In Jesus' terms, God was not made for us. We are made for God. That's a crucial difference. God is not for us, we are for God. God is not made actually to sate our things. We are made actually not to satisfy God, but we are made actually for God.